everybody, welcome to the second episode of Season 2 Roundup. We have a different guest tonight, as is our Dak is on holiday sunning himself in Greece. So we're joined by Des Roach of the Get Involved Referee podcast and former assistant manager at Kilbirne. So a lot of guys will know him as well, the older fellas will know him, like myself, when you refereed us all back in the day, Des. Appreciate you joining us, mate.
No, not at all. Delighted to be asked on, Paul. Say big shoes to fill on Dak. I think he's getting more hair than me now, to be honest.
Aye. But you've got to talk more sense in him, right? I mean, he talks about me putting him to sleep. He's an absolute stolen motor. He's all over the place. Who knows what he's talking about most of the time?
But my missus absolutely loves him. She thinks he's absolutely tremendous. So, Mrs. Dak, so I'll be worried here about Mrs. Dak.
Right, so before we start, we'll a wee shout out to our sponsor, VSN. They've kitted us out with our gear. So if you fancy any of their stuff, go and check them out on their website and get them on Twitter and stuff. Also, if you're interested in any PG and DAC merchandise, give us a shout and we'll see what we can do for you. And we'll get into the Premier League. The Talbot 0, Darvel 3, Beath 0, Hurlford 2, Clydebank 2, Remeda 3, Cumnock 2, Cambuslang 0, Glenafton 1, Arthurlie 0, Colwyn 2, Trin 3, Rob Roy 2, Petershill 0, Paul 0, Largs 0. Obviously, Des, we'll start with the big one for yesterday. Darvel going down and giving the Talbot a convincing defeat. Darvel seem to have their number. That's the last 3 games they've played. 2 down at Beechwood, they've beaten them, and they drew with them. They've drew with them down at Darvel at the end of last season. I don't know. For me, I feel like, and I hope I'm wrong, I feel like Talbot's time being the main force might be coming to an end. I feel like they're kind of in a transition with that team now, and it's going to be really difficult. But well done to Darvel, an excellent result going down there and being so comfortable.
Aye, well, it's also such a big game so early in the season. You're only in the early part of it, and well done, Darvel. You can't 3-0 convincingly. Talbot missing penalties, players getting sent off, lots of things going on in the game. I would like not to think that it's the Talbot's way out, and I don't think Tommy Sloan would allow that. There has probably been a couple of changes more at Talbot than they normally would in a pre-season. Obviously, a couple of boys retiring, but as much as they're saying Talbot getting beat, the credit's got to go to Darvel.
Oh, definitely.
You've got to give them all the props in the world. How many away teams go to Talbot and win? But win 3-0 and be so convincing.
That's the thing for me. I've mentioned it a couple of times now that everybody guns for Darvel and they have this thing because there's a talk of them having the money and all that, and maybe Mick Kennedy's quite outspoken, so people maybe want to have a go at them. I think that Darvel got that with the Talbot. You can see that because everybody talks about the Talbot being the benchmark, and Darvel are the team who want to get to that position. I think that they up their game a wee bit when they're playing the Talbot, and you've seen it in the last 3 games. I mean, I thought down at Darvel when me and Dak went down last season, I thought Darvel probably edged it a wee bit in a tight game. And I'm not saying the Talbot. I think the Talbot will probably finish second or third this season, even though I predicted them to win the league. But I think Darvel's squad's too strong. I know the Talbot are struggling for players at times. That's the words that I'm hearing. I just think it's hard. Tucker's been there for must have been 17, 18 years as well. I just think that maybe they're on the decline. Maybe I'm overreacting completely, but it's just a wee feeling I've got.
Listen, see if you're at the top, somebody's going to shoot you.
Aye.
But see if you're at the top for that long, then you've also set a pedestal that is so high. And it doesn't matter what team Talbot put out, they play the same way most of the time. And it doesn't matter if you know they're going to go back to front or middle to front. It's about you breaking that down and you stopping that. Teams don't stop it.
Nah.
They've been so good for so long and they deserve to be where they've been. And do you know what? I'm not saying they're going to have an offer by no manner of means, and there's still a heck of a lot of games to be played, but this is going to be a right competitive league. Darvel are in it. There's a team we'll come on to later who I think are really going to be in the mix as well. So, okay, unlucky, Talbot. It's maybe not been your day, but
they're both tied in points in it. They're both sitting with 3 points for 2 games, so it's not even like Darvel have put themselves 3 points ahead. So I know I'm not saying it. I still think Talbot will be top 2, top 3 at worst. But I just have a feeling within myself, and I had it a wee bit at the end of last season, that they're not quite the side they were. But saying that, you're talking 5-10 years ago, they were ridiculously good. So you're always going to have wee kind of peaks and troughs, I suppose. But we're going to move on to Kilwinning and Troon, the game you were at yesterday. 3-2 to Troon. I predicted Kilwinning going to do well this season. I still stand by that. Troon are a team that go under the radar very much. I think they'll probably be top 6 again, like the kind of spell they had last season. They're a team that they go under the radar for me, but they go and get wins like that every now and again, and they beat the teams that are about them, and they're a good side. But how was the game for you yesterday, been doing it?
I thought the first 20 minutes, half hour, I thought Kilwinning were in control for most of the game. Obviously, you've got Thomas Collins up front, who provides that wee bit of difference. But at no point did I ever think that Kilwinning were entirely in charge of the game. It was 1-0 Buffs, 1 each, 2-0, 2 each, then obviously 3-2 Troon at the end. Chris Miller was an absolute joke. He ran the game. Not one guy in that park could get anywhere near him. I thought he was outstanding. I thought Troon were dogged and determined. Thought they were really good. Sam Jimison done what he done all the time. He's right across the back four, putting himself in front of defenders, getting fouls. I was really impressed with the boy Sherry at left back. I thought he did a really good game. He was overlapping a lot in the first half. Second half, he was dogged. He was determined. The goals that Troon got, they were always reactive rather than proactive. But I think they were deserved their win. I don't really think that David Gormley and the Buffs could have went to Columbia. I don't think they created any clean chances. Dylan Burgess in goals for Troon made a couple of cracking saves. Won the second half. The new big boys at Dylan Mackin that they've got up front. He made a cracking save inside the 6-yard box that you'd expect him to be burying. But good game. I think Troon will be. They'll be comfortable in the league. I don't see them being a problem.
Well, actually, I was just looking there when you were talking. 7 of the 16 teams in the league have got 3 points. That tells you what it's going to be like this season, I think. We're going to go into the only team so far, and I think it's the team you were probably alluding to, that's unbeaten or have won both games, and that's Cumnock. 2-0 against Cambuslang. I think that, see with them having Boyd and Moore up front, then obviously a player you know well, Brendan Sharp, who will probably be a squad player, but is a good option to have on. Cumnock are looking much more a threat this year, and I think that they could be a top 4 or top 5 team. I think that they've invested well in their team. Gintz and H are starting to get kind of their ideas across. I think that they're going to have a really strong season. But on the flip side, predicted Cambuslang to go down. I don't see anything other than that. I think that it's going to be such a hard season for them. Again, losing Scott Williamson and Big Gemo, bags of goals there, but it's going to be hard for them.
I agree. That was the team I was alluding to. I think they've got a fantastic management team. They've also worked together previously at Ross Fair, Evan Meadow, H was with Martin and myself at Kilbirne. So H is obviously probably one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet in football. I knew him through refereeing as well. In fact, I probably booked him for sneezing or something like that at one point. But no, I think Cumnock have done great. And as you said there, if you've got that firepower up front, I mean, if Brendan Sharp can't get a start in that team, it shows you what quality they've got. I really fancy Cumnock this year. Again, a good manager. And as you say, he's only come in towards the latter part of last year. He's had the latter part of last year to see what he's got, feel about, build his squad, get them settled over the summer. They've started on fire, and as you say, they're the only team with 6 points on the table.
That's it. I mean, I know it's ridiculously early, and it can't be a massive thing at this stage. But being 3 points ahead of your Darvels and your Talbots and all that, and your Clydebanks co-winnings, it does give you a game or two cushion where if you lose a couple of games down the road that they win, again, you're only going to be 3 points behind. Moving on to Rob Roy for me. 2-0, they beat Petershill. I just think that Maxie's doing a great job there. That's 10 years he's been there. He's last season the run that they had was excellent. I think Peter's are going to struggle. I don't see them staying up either. I think we could potentially be looking at the teams that came up last season being the teams that go down this season. Ridiculously early, I know, but it's going to be such a struggle with the quality that's in that league. And Rob Royce, a good win, clean sheet, excellent 3 points for him.
I don't know Maxie personally, but they should be calling him Paul Daniels because he keeps the rabbits out of hats here. He just keeps getting teams, keeps them in the league, keeps them going steady. Another steady result. He's doing his usual. I agree with you. I think, and you don't like to see that you think teams will struggle, but I think the three boys that are coming up, three teams that are coming up, it's starting to look a wee bit in the goal. We need to find our feet quick. Now, they've still got a lot of time to turn that around and bring in reinforcements, etc. But no, fair play to Rob Roy. I think that's again points to the board this early. You need to board early. That's the big thing.
And it's something that they didn't have last year. They didn't have the points on the board early, and they had to kind of fight tooth and nail for so long after Christmas, which they've got that wee cushion already with 4 points, sitting joint second in the league. Touching on Pollock and Largs. Largs another one. That's 2 draws they've had, but they're such a hard team to beat. And I wrote them off, saying that I think they could go down. But I just think they're so difficult to beat. Maybe it's the Dak effect. Dak's on holiday. Murdy didn't have the main man beside him. Dak probably wasn't able to be there to tell Murdy what to do, the right subs to make that, and that's how they didn't get the win. But Largs will be delighted with that. Pollock, I suppose, will be disappointed. But they're sitting with 4 points for 2 games ahead of Darvel, Talbot, Clydebank, the likes of that. So it's no panic stations or anything.
No, you can look at it. You can look at it in both sides teams. For me, it's a brilliant result for Arnie. Absolutely terrific result. Arnie again, a wee bit like Maxie.
Yep.
He always builds good teams, probably in a limited resource. And I've just been at Largs up and down twice a day, picking up my son and dropping him off for gymnastics. It's a bit of a trek if you're coming from Glasgow or the West Coast. So for him to get guys going down there on a limited budget, producing what he can, I think that shows great management, man management, tactical management, whatever you want to say. Also for Pollock, you go, all right, we don't really want to drop points at home, but they've not left with nothing. They've still picked up a point, and you'd expect Pollock to score. Murdy's got budgets, etc., but he's also got a disposal at his hands, and he's got good players. So Pollock is still going to be there and there about the end of the year. Let's not kid ourselves. So no, I think Largs will be happier at the two taking that one.
Definitely. Another 2 teams who are sitting on 4 points. Hurlford beating Beith 2-0 after Beith had the good win last week, and Glenafton beating Artley. Glenafton, another one of the teams like Rob Roy and Lars last year that had the really strong finish. Ryan Stevenson seems to be able to get the best out of them. I think they'll be top half this season really pushing. Hurlford as well. They always run with a smaller squad than a lot of teams, like particularly like your Pollocks and stuff, who've got really big squads. And I think it hinders them at times. It stops them from being able to get into that top 3. But they're a good side who can go and beat teams, and it doesn't surprise you when they go and get a win. No,
Hurlford have done that for a few years now. I don't think Hurlford will get the budget that they had a few years ago, but it's another good result, and especially away from home, going to Beith. So they're putting in a wee mark. It's a big job for Straney at Beith. If Straney can keep Beith up on the budget he's got allegedly, that'd be fantastic. And Straney was an old sparring partner to me. I remember he used to tell me I'd swap his strip for my whistling a few occasions. So no, I think that's great. When you come to Glenafton, that's a good win. They're 5th in the league. They've not been beaten, so it's Ryan Stevenson's first job within this level of football. But he's got Mark Roberts at his side. Well, so between the two of them, I mean, they're not going to get any more experience. And what will be the challenge for Glenafton is if they stay up this year, and if they can get back in what player really wouldn't want to go and play for they two?
I know, that's the thing. It's a club with a lot of history, and the two of them. I mean, all right, Marco ended up finishing kind of playing lower leagues and stuff, but he's still a kind of reasonably decent name. Ryan Stevenson playing with Hearts, very good player in his time. Could attract good players in as well. We'll finish up with Meda beating Clydebank 3-2. I'm night shift this weekend, so basically I woke up yesterday afternoon, and I went and got shopping in, and I was walking about Aldi with my oldest. I was just on my phone checking. I seen it was 3-0 to Meda at half time. I couldn't believe it. After them getting beat 3-1 after winning last week, and Clydebank having a good win last week, I thought they were going to go on and win again. They managed to pull back 2 goals in the second half. Obviously, it wasn't enough, but by all accounts, Meda could have been 5-6 out of sight in the first half, which that's something that I think Moff struggles with. Is he's always said he likes to pride himself on having a good defence. They lose too many goals, whereas they've got quality to score goals, but they lose too many goals. And you've seen that last season, they lost a lot more goals than he would have liked. I still think that they don't have enough about them to be able to win a league yet. I just think that financially they can't compete with teams, but I just don't think they've got enough. But they're good enough to go and beat teams and keep themselves in the top 4 or 5. But that's a great result for Spenny and Latta at Meda.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, Moss a good coach. That's never in question here. But it doesn't matter if you're playing Meda, if you're playing Kilbirne, if you're playing Cumnock. If you're giving away 3 goals at half time, that means you need to score 3 to get a point. You need to score 4 to get a win. A great comeback, but there's still a lot to go. I would still bank on Moff, and I know he doesn't have the budget of other clubs, but I think Clydebank trust him. And we've seen what he's done in cup runs and stuff, and the money that he generates for them and stuff like that. So I've got no doubt that Moff will get them back up there. As I say, we're early on in the season. I agree. They've just signed Craig Little at the back as well, which is a great signing. So he's strengthening at the back. I think he knows that that's maybe the areas that he has to work on. Not that I'm saying that he knows what he should work on. Goodness me, I'm no there. But as a club and the infrastructure that they have, Clydebank have got all the bases to go forward, and it's just incremental. And I don't think, because of what they went through previously and the club going bankrupt and go that, I think the club are very conscientious of the money they spend and how they spend it. But I think they'll get there.
I think you're right. I think he's one of the best managers at this level. He has got a good side. The club will back him, I think, quite deservedly so. But we'll move on to the first division. Blantyre 1, Whitlets 2, the Drumchapel 2, Glencairn 0, Gartcairn 1, Thornywood 0, Johnstone Burgh 1, Kilbirne 4, Neilson 2, the Bens 0, Rossvale 1, Shotts 5, St Cadoc's 2, Cumnock 2, The Rock 7, Bonneton 1. I'm going to start on The Rock. That was a massive result for them. So convincing. I do think it's very worrying for Bonneton. I mean, when they were getting beat quite comfortably in the Premier League, you were saying that's fair enough. They're probably at a level too high for them. They're playing against the best teams at this level. The Rock, who in my opinion are going to have a hard season, I've absolutely scurried them, and well done to David Gregg and his team. Massive result. But I feel like I don't understand why. I mean, I think it was me and Dak were talking about it before the season started, and Ross Wilson did such a good job at Maryhill. I don't get, maybe there's stuff going on that went on in the background, but I don't understand why he went to Bonneton. They're a club who, they don't have a great support. I don't know what they've got financially, but I don't understand it. I think they're going to really struggle. They've conceded 10 in their first 2 games and only scored 1. It's going to be such a long, hard season for them again, I think.
They've actually started worse in this division than they did last year. Because remember, they beat Pollock.
That's right. They beat Pollock.
They beat Pollock at the start of last year. I don't know what went on with Ross Wilson at Mayhill, because they seem to have them going well. Mm-hmm. A work colleague of mine's played with Mayhill. Now he's down at Bonneton with him, and he was saying they've been going well, but I think from what I hear from the outside, he brings in lots of bodies and just goes through them, and you're in, you're out, you're in, you're out, you're in, you're out. So I don't know. I don't know Ross personally. I don't know him personally. So I know obviously his coaching career. I followed what he's been doing. But take that away if you put Bonnet, and I agree. I think they'll struggle. I don't think there's a great. Don't mean infrastructure around the club size. I don't think there's a great following from the local area. So it's not going to bring in. It's not going to bring money in. But as I said before, with the Darvel and Talbot side, all credit to the Rock and David Gregg.
Yep.
That's absolutely taking that amount of goals off another team at that level. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
That was a great result for them. One, I did think they would win yesterday, but I didn't think it would have been so convincing. We'll touch on your former club, Kilbirne, playing Johnstone Burgh at Keene Park, beating them 4-1. That's a great result because me and Dak we've sang the praises of Jamie and the guys down at Burgh. I think they're doing a great job. But that's a huge result for Tommy down at Kilbirne. That's a massive win. Kind of sets the stall out a wee bit for them as well, because they're expected to be right up there. You know what it's like, how big a club it is down there. The fans expect you to win, and that was a great result for them yesterday.
Listen, Kilbirne is an absolute fantastic club. The time that we spent there, so it's great to see them where they are. And do you know the person that I'm most delighted to see them in that position is Big Ian McDonald, the club president, because that guy lives and breathes every single minute for Kilbirne. He's so supportive. Tommy will have. See if Tommy asked for 2.5 sugars in his tea, he'll get 2.5 sugars in his tea. He'll get anything he needs, or if he can't do it, somebody will do it for him. Ian McDonald is an absolutely brilliant guy, and to be the Kilbirne president who lives in Beith, it shows you what kind of honest he's got. So no, I agree, absolutely brilliant result, and hope they go on well. And it's good to see Lee Scully getting on the score sheet as well.
Player Scully, good player. A big result again, another one that me and Dak have spoke very highly. And do you know, it's a team that I really wish well. I don't know why. I don't know if it was because my brother played with them back in the day, and I like going down to see them. Is Nielsen beating the Bens 2-0. It's just such a good result because the Bens are going to be right up there, one of the favourites to win the league. It's a massive result, and they don't lose many goals, Nielsen. They're very good defensively. I think it's a great result, and it's another one that they're right up there with St Cadoc's, with Kilbirne, with Cumnock, and Gartcairn as well. I think they might fall off a wee bit, but it's a great result for them yesterday.
Nielsen, I've also got a link through with Chrissy Cameron and Carson and Disco. So we played them when we were at Glenvale. We played them in a friendly last year. We drew just prior to pre-season. But Chrissy, he'll have them in good shape. So will Disco. So will Big Carson. And do you know what? They know what they're doing. They're clever guys, and they don't make lots of changes. They bring in one or two here or there. They brought in Lewis Kinnaird, who was with us, and he said man of the match the other week there. They've got Robbie Halliday, who I know well as well, the right back. I think Nielsen will be right in there. You could be Dan Jones up front as well. They lost Brophy. Brophy obviously he went away in the summer, but I wouldn't discount Nielsen up there. And again, they've not got a big budget, but no, a fantastic result. And I know Lovers well, and Benburb don't take losing easily, so they'd have been right in the battle.
Nah, definitely. I think great result. I think it's just a blip for the Bens. They'll be back at it. Are we mentioned Drumchapel? I think that was their first. I might be wrong. Their first league game at home where they've had fans in. It was a massive game for them in terms of what it meant to the club. Because I know Hope and Kingy and John and stuff doing at the Drum, and I know how much they've put in, basically taking that from the amateur team to where they are now, having guys like David Templeton and all that in their squad. It was a good day for them yesterday, and it was a good win against Glencairn. I think that Glencairn will be pretty disappointed so far, only having picked up 1 point for their first 2 games. But that's the Drum, after losing last week. They needed that win, I think, for them just to give them a wee shot in the arm, because they're a team I know the guys there, they'll be thinking they have to go and at least get in the top 2 or 3 in that league. So that was a massive win for them yesterday.
It was a good one, really good one, and I agree. From the infrastructure they're putting in place and the time they're putting in and what they're trying to do at the club to elevate in the right trajectory, it was a right good win for them. I actually seen Glencairn against Gartcairn previous Saturday. I've got to admit, I wasn't impressed with Glencairn. I think the boy needed a paracetamol in the morning after it. I just thought that needs a wee bit of quality. And they've just signed Martin McBride. And Bridie's been out for a couple of years with injury and his work commitments in London and stuff. But once Bridie's up to speed, he'll put a wee bit of steel in. He'll put a bit of steel in there.
Touching on their opposition for last week, Gartcairn beating Thorneywood 1-0. It's a good win for them. Thorneywood are a good side who score a lot of goals, so being able to keep them, minimise their chances and get a shot against them is a good result. One of the teams who we've not mentioned a great deal, myself and Dak haven't mentioned a huge deal for winning the league, is Shotts beating Rossvale 5-1. I know Rossvale, in my opinion, are going to have a tough season. Yeah. But Shotts just missed out against St Cadoc's last week. Apparently could have got themselves a draw. Comfortable win yesterday. They're a good side. John McEwen, the manager, knows his stuff. He's been about. They're another team for me that are going to be right up there challenging. I
don't think Shotts will lose many games at home this year. I think that's a tough visit. John McEwen's been around the block a lot. He knows how to build a team. He knows how to win games. I think Rossvale, new management group, guys that are at this level for the first time. It's a young squad. I think Rossvale. It'll be a hard shift for them.
That's what we're talking about with the management team there. See, even if they finish in the bottom 1 or 2, go down. See, as long as there seems to be a kind of a progression in the team, then they should keep their job, because their hands are tied, having to basically build a completely new squad in a period of 2 or 3 months. They don't have a budget at the club. It's just so hard for them. The club's punched well above the level for so long. But moving on to a club who do have a good budget, St Cadoc's, 2 each way Cumbernauld. After getting a cracking win last week, and then Cumbernauld having a great win against the Drum last week. That was a big game for 2 teams who will be looking to win the league. A draw, I'm not sure how it's went. I've not really, like I said, I've been working this weekend, so I've not been able to see much. But it's probably, on reflection, something that you'd expect, a draw at the 2 of them.
I think Cumbernauld would take more heart out of it than the 2 of them, to be honest. I think St Cadoc's, with the new players at disposal, Chris Erskine coming in, I think St Cadoc's should be looking to win. Not every game, you can't win every game, but you go in to win every game, but you can't expect it. I think Cumbernauld will be quite happy taking that point, going up the road and continuing on. But it might be a wee bit more pressure on St Cadoc's. But listen, St Cadoc's will be in there at the end of the season. Let's not kid ourselves.
They're definitely a very good team. And Doyle's a good manager, so like you said, I expect them to be there or thereabouts. Moving on to the second division. Craigmark 3, Glasgow United 2, Perthshire 0, Yoker 3, Greenock 3, the Ants 2, Kilsyth 1, Ardeer 3, Maple 1, Maryhill 0, Muirkirk 1, Ashfield 7, Wishaw 1, Renfrew 2. We'll start with a former club of yours again, Renfrew.
I'm not Arnold Palmer, by the way, with all these clubs.
I know. I just starting to sound like me, man, with the clubs you've been involved with. Big win for them. They scored 2 penalties last week in their 2-1 win against Kilsyth. Scored a penalty yesterday to beat Wishaw 2-1. But that's them, 6 points for 2 games. Along with Craigmark, Maple and Yoker. I still fancy them to do well, but I did think they probably have a stronger start than they have had. It seemed a wee bit nip and tuck with them, but all that matters, I suppose, is having the 3 points.
Listen, doesn't matter. I've said a boiled egg's a boiled egg, whether it's soft or whether it's hard, it's still a boiled egg. 3 points is 3 points. You take them, and as a Renfrew supporter, Jimmy's doing well. So as long as we keep winning, I'm quite happy with that. So onwards and upwards for Renfrew.
definitely. Moving on to Yoker, Scottish Cup finalists last year, had a great start to the season, 3-0 against Perthshire, and they won 2-0 last week. So still to lose a goal. For some mad mental reason, I went for them to be. Me and Dak both said that they were going to struggle and possibly get relegated. I have no doubt that that won't happen. How wrong we could have been. Same with Whitlets. I forgot to touch on them for their win yesterday against Blantyre. It was a great win for them. Two teams who I tipped to really struggle had great starts to the season. But Yoker, Gordon's done a great job down there. You seen that when he took care, I think it was February, took care, managed to take them to the final of the Scottish. The league form improved dramatically, and they've started off where they finished last season. I think they really could be up there challenging at the end of the season.
I mean, Gordon's done. I think he's done tremendous. I think Gordon Ross has done tremendous. How can you take a? Okay, I know they get beaten in the Scottish Cup final. Who are they playing against?
No.
Are you expecting to win that? So if you take that game aside, forget that game. You've won the semi-final. You've done good finish the season. You've won the semi-final. Drop that game. You take that bounce into the next season. And Gordon's still the same guy. He'll still be putting across the same messages. The coaching staff will be trying to G the guys up. I was shocked when you said you thought they were going to struggle. I hope they don't.
I know. I didn't even. When me and Dak were doing the preview, we were sitting in his house, and I was like, we were talking about it before we went on. I was like, I think Yoker will do quite well this year. And then when he said they'd go down, I couldn't think of anybody else, and I just panicked and I said the same thing. So I have no doubt they won't, to be fair. But moving on to another team who have got a perfect record so far, Craig Mark beating Glasgow United 3-2. Glasgow United were disappointed after having a good start to the league campaign, their new management team winning last week. But Craig Mark are another team who they're going to expect to be right up there. They're a good side, they've got good quality. Caddis seems to be doing a good job as their manager. So they'll be hoping to push on. We've also got Mabel beating Maryhill 1-0 to keep their 100% record as well. I think Mark Young will be reasonably happy after taking a bit of a doing off a Muircut last week. Playing, in my opinion, a better side yesterday and only losing by a goal. Keeping it tight, that's a bit better for them. But I think that we might find that there are four of the teams who will be right up at that end of the table at the end of the season.
I think Craig Mark, the biggest advantage, no disrespect to the players, is Caddis. I think he's a terrific manager. Again, we met him through playing, and I knew him. See the player that he was. See the guy that he was as a player.
He was a greeting-faced bastard, aye.
I think he was probably one of my quick and send this off with Alloa against Stranraer. It was in the park in about 3 minutes. And then I happened to meet him in a pub in Cumnock a couple of weeks later, and I'm having in the bathroom, and he recognised me, and I thought, oh my God, no the place you want to meet somebody like this. But he's a terrific manager.
Done such a good job, really good.
So I fully expect Craig Mark to be right up there at the end of the year, and I also expect him to be linked to, if any bigger jobs come up, I'd expect Caddis to be right in there. Maryhill, I seen Maryhill pre-season in a game that I was involved in, and Mark Young, good manager, he's also came to B20s. He's got a mixture up there, a couple of older heads and a lot of young legs. As much as I like to say it, I think Maryhill might struggle this year.
I think you should be right. I think that the committee, we've touched on this, the committee, unless they're getting rattled every week, the committee have to stick by him, because I imagine they will, because they know the job he's got in his hands. They know when they brought him in that it's a rebuild. Ross still have taken quite a few players away. You know, like Mackenzie and stuff moving on, who arguably, in my opinion, when I seen him, was one of their best players. It's so hard to replace boys like that. But it is what it is. He's just got to keep plugging away. He's got to try and get his stamp on it. But it's another one that they've lost, and I think they've still to score. I maybe haven't scored yet. But we've got Greenock, good win against the Ants. I think the Ants are going to be one of the teams this year who will be causing issues for most clubs. I think that they'll be hard to beat. Danny, Ronnie, Notre Dame, going to be a tough team to beat, but I think it's a really good result for Nixon, because he's got a young team down there. He's having to kind of do it in the midst of a bit of rebuild. I think that's a good result for him, and it's a win that they needed.
Oh, they definitely need it. But as you said, the Ants, whoever gets an easy game at the Ants, nobody gets an easy game. And as you say, Danny and Ronnie, they'll be there and about. But not Greenock need it. But listen, when like the Ants, Greenock are probably a similar kind of club with the Port as well. You don't go there and get easy games. You never see them getting trounced. It's always hard fought, and guys that are there want to play, want to work hard. So it's a great win for Greenock. But the Ants will come back. Ronnie will have them as fit as fleas.
I think they'll be a good mid-table team who will go and beat teams, and I think a club like the Ants might have, and it's something that they've not had for a few years. I think they might have a say on what happens in the league just by being difficult to beat and getting points after some of the top teams. Ardeer beating Kilsyth 3-1 in my PG picks coupon this week. I went for Kilsyth to win because they had a decent result against Renfrew last week. They pushed them right close. So I had a couple of messages last night when I was on a night shift. Some of the Ardeer boys gave me a wee bit of stick, and I got a message for Sean as well. But Sean was more, he gets annoyed at me when I say they're going to do well. So he's happier when I say they're not going to do well. But we've got, for me, the result of the day in Division 2, Daxall Team Ashfield 7-1 against Muirkirk. After Muirkirk had a good win the week previously, great result for Ashfield. I think Ashfield might be a bit hit and miss this year. They've clearly got the quality to go and give teams a bit of a game, but I think they're kind of, with Mick trying to build that team and put his own stamp on it, I think they'll probably lose certain games, but they have got the quality to win. That's an absolutely top result against Muirkirk, who, particularly through there, it's not the easiest of places to go.
That's a horrible place to go. The pitch up the top of a hill, and it's just so open. But you say Mick's got also coming from Maxie and that last year, they're a pretty settled team. He's came into a whole new setup. He's got a lot of 20s boys with him as well. So these guys have got to learn the level as well. So it's a learning curve, not just for the management team, but a learning curve for the playing side. So see if Ashfield will take points, will drop points. That's just a given. So if that's the way the season's going to be, so be it. But give the guys a couple of years, let them learn their levels, and it'll come. And do you know what? See some of the guys at Ashfield, they'll end up at your top teams in the Premier League in a couple of years.
Good players in there. I think his Mick's only 32, 33, so he's just a young, very, very young manager at this level as well. Yeah. Right, moving on to Division 3. Ardrossan 1, Vale leaving 0, Bellshill 2, Girvan 3, Finnart 5, Royal Albert 1, Lanark 3, Dalry 1, Lugar 2, Larkhall 1, Newmains 2, East Kilbride 2, Port Glasgow 4, Carluke 1, Saltcoats 1, Kello 3. The top of the table clash, two of the teams that are probably favourites up there to win the league. Lanark beating Dalry 3-1. That's a massive result for me. I think that it's a bit of a marker laid down by Lanark. I tipped Dalry to win the league, and I still think they'll be up there. But that's a huge one for Lanark to go and get a marker of one of their rivals, because Chris has done a very, very good job at Dalry. I think he's deserves a lot of praise for the way he's turned them around when last season they were losing 8, 9s and 10s, and then by the end of the season playing the same teams that 10 goals after them, they were losing by a goal or two. It's a massive improvement. But Lanark's another team who bought them in the league last year, and I think they'll be right up there. They'll be pushing all the way this season.
Yeah, well, first you touched on with Dalry, the change in Dalry is remarkable, absolutely remarkable. The change in Dalry, from they were taking, to use a word for that, they were taking scuddings last year. They were taking scuddies last year, but they've consolidated. Chris has built a decent team. They're showing a bit more resilience. They're turning around. But again, go to the other team, Lanark. Lanark are historically a good team, big side. So at this minute in time, they're 3 out of 3, and their goal difference is +6. So so if you take your goal difference, they're winning by 2 goals every game for the first 3 weeks, and Kello are right behind them. They're 3 as well, and they're +5. So between, you think, Lanark, Kello, Irvine Vicks, Finnart, Winton, Dalry, Les Mahago, there's not much between them at this moment in time.
Nah, definitely no. You mentioned Les Mahego, that's a day they want to forget, but for me, Irvin Vick's absolutely sensational result taking 8 off of Les Mahego. They're a team again who had a really tough season last year, and they've really turned it around. That's them got 6 points out of possible 9. I don't think they've got enough to win the league yet.
No,
I think
no.
that Doogie has really strengthened that team. I know that Owen McCallum, who was the goalkeeper at St Peters when I was there, I was surprised when he went there because I think Owen's good enough to play a couple of leagues above. But it's a good signing for them. Then you've got Big McLaughlin up top who scores goals. You've got Franny Kilpatrick, who, in my opinion, should probably be playing higher. We were talking about it before he came on. His free kick yesterday was ridiculous. There was one of the goals I saw, I think it was Ayrshire News put it on, and Franny's coming in for the side and he just drops the shoulder because by the defender he's not there. He's got that extra bit of quality. Even though he's a small guy, very technically gifted, good player. So that's a huge result for them. One for me, Ardrossan, who are tipped to be right up there. Gav Friel's their manager. Guys like Liam McGuinness, obviously, who played for you at Kilbirne, who is excellent player. Chrissy Craig down there. I don't know what it is. They're leaving for me. Are they going to be a great side? Are they going to be challenging? But they're kind of in a transition as well. They only beat them 1-0. They scraped by, correct me if I'm wrong, it was New Mains, I think they scraped by, or somebody like that, 2-1. A game that you expected them to win a bit more comfortably. You can't keep scraping by games against teams who are going to be lower down in the league by a goal. I think you need to go and lay a marker down. Like an Irvin Vick's taking 8 off Les Mahego. That's laying a marker down. I think Ardrossan need to do that. Granted, they're still early on in the season, but I think they need to do better if they're wanting to go and challenge like people expect them to.
Personally, I think the Vicks taking 8 off of Les Mahego was one of the freak results. I don't think, no disrespect to the Vicks, they might be better. I've not seen them recently, but I think that's one of the freak results. I think Les Mahego will bounce back to that. I don't have any issues with that. The Winton, see if guys like Gav Friels and Big Chris is his assistant in there, the guys who've been with Meadow and played senior and been there and done that. I think Winton need to up the ante.
Particularly with the budget they have, because everybody knows they don't have stupid money, but at that level they have a decent amount of money.
You should be beating lesser teams. I don't mean lesser also in the esteem of the team, but lesser quality with that team. They should be taking more goals off of them and winning convincingly. And if you win convincingly against your lesser opponents, then the team's confidence goes up, and then that builds up to the next level. And then when you go and play your Lanarks, you go and play your Kellos, then winning should be right up there. At this minute in time, they're not punching their weight, but they're winning games.
Aye, that ultimately getting the points like we spoke about earlier, that is the main point for them. Another team who a lot of people would have tipped as the favourites, East Kilbride drawn with New Mains. They got a last-minute goal against Saltcoats during the week there. They got a draw against Lugar last week. They need to do better. They've brought a lot of quality, and me and Isaac Conley were pally and had a wee joke with him calling them the pensioner team because they have brought in a lot of older players. It's a lot of quality players they've brought in though. But they're another one. They're expected to do well this year. What they've done so far isn't good enough, and it's one of the ones I feel uncomfortable saying it because I'm mates with Azza and I think Gary and that and all their stuff, but that's not good enough for them. Know with who they've brought in, know with the quality they've got at their disposal. I mean, I don't mean any disrespect to New Mains at all. Davy's done a great job there, but that isn't a good enough result. Again, it's like you're talking about Ardrossan. They have to go and beat their teams by 2 or 3 goals, lay a marker down, because when they go and play Dalry, Lanark, Kello, that's not going to be good enough to get in there for them.
No, absolutely not. And I'm I'm very good friends with a couple of the pensioners, and Jammer will not mind me calling them a pensioner, but Jammer wasn't available. Jamie Longworth wasn't available this weekend. He's away in honeymoon. But if you're signing Jamie, you're signing Barry, you're signing Sean. Exactly. These guys played at senior football. They played at the top level of junior football. I mean, I'm not saying they're coming cheap or whatever, but you're expecting a return and you're expecting a lot better value out of that. And if they're not producing results at this stage in the season, then what's going to happen later on when these guys are getting tired, picking up injuries, etc. So no, East Kilbride need to get points on the board early, and they need to be putting in more goals and getting more prolific performances.
I agree. They're sitting mid-table now with 5 points, so they're still unbeaten, but they've played teams that you would expect to be lower down in the league. It's not like they've played the top teams. Kello beating Saltcoats 3-1. Quite looking about their business. We didn't speak really about them in our preview or anything. That's a really good one. I think they're going to have a cracking season, like you kind of touched on. Saltcoats, I know they've lost 2 and drawn 1. I actually think that the results they've had have been no bad. They're playing the better sides. They're on the opposite end with East Kilbride. They're not expected to do anything, but they've played the top teams already, and they're pushing them reasonably close. My beloved Port Glasgow with a good win against Cumnock, 4-1. Cumnock having a really tough start to the season. I think that the Port need to start getting guys sent off. They get Barry McLaughlin sent off during the week. And it's funny, if you ever play against Barry McLaughlin, you think that he is the most mental man in the world. And then see, I played with him for a wee bit at the Port. Nicest guy. Honestly, one of the nicest guys I've ever met. Put him on a football park and he's mental. And then he got another red card yesterday, which I think is something they need to kind of get under control. Also, Girvan getting a win against Bellshill after being a couple down. They needed that win after losing their first 2 games, and Everdack's tipped to win the league. I don't see that happening, but they needed that win.
I will. The Port.
Port support. That is what it is.
The Port support. I remember years ago, obviously refereeing down there, and I got on great with Paul Coyle, but Coyle and I used to talk.
A lunatic on the park.
I know, nicest guy in the world, but me and him would chat before, and I'm saying, right, here's my book. You just write it, and you just tell me the minute. You just let me know. And obviously, a good pal of mine, Alan Muir, with Ailsa, he's been down there coaching this year, and he's telling me they're a right good side.
I think they'll do well.
They're a really, really good side, but they need to avoid the stupidness, and because all it's going to do, all right, you might want to be this bravado and intimidating team, but all you do is you put yourself behind the 8 ball, because you're going to lose players. So
it comes back on you later as well with the suspensions. Even financially, that for a club like the Port, that's not something they need, as players to be getting sent off and getting hit with fines. No. But I'm going to rush us through Division 4 now, because I need to go to work in the next 15 minutes.
I don't.
Division 4, no you don't. BSC 3, Easterhouse 1, Eglinton 1, The Thorn 3, Hamnero 0, Rossville Academy 2, St Peters 1, Coatside Athletic 2, 3-4, Campbelltown 0, West Park 3, Glenvale 2. Your top 2 teams in that league, or top 3 teams, in the league, who we've spoken about previously, that are going to be the 3 that are really going for it. They got good results yesterday, keeping their perfect records in form. West Park needed an injury time winner against Glenvale, which I was a wee bit surprised at after 3 went and gave them a bit of doing last week. But that could be really important for West Park later in the season, because they're a good team who are going to be up there. They're still going to have games, I think, where it's going to be a lot tighter, but that was important for them to get that win. And Campbelltown having to travel on the ferry and everything to get to Thrieve. Good win for Thrieve 4-0. I think it's just kind of a business-like performance for him. That's 2 good results there.
See the travelling in that league. The travelling in that is ridiculous. And guys that are working on a Friday, guys might have shifts on a Saturday. That league will probably be one of the leagues that changes the most through the year. But West Park getting that result, that could be one of the ones that turns it later on in the year.
Aye. It's a really important one, because you know what it's like being involved in football. You know how it can go with games like that. Really can be important later in the season. We've also got Rossville Academy, who I really didn't expect much for at all, who are sitting with a 100% record after beating BSC last week 4-0 convincingly, then beating Hamnero 2-0 yesterday. Hamnero were one of the better teams in the league, finished 3rd last year. But I know that Keith's got a right number on his hands. They lost a few players. It's not been the same. I actually think that they might they could be looking at the bottom 2 or 3 this season. I think it's going to be so difficult for them. But Kilsyth beating St Peters, I've said it with St Peters, they've got a young team. I think they had like 10 players last week that came on or started that are 18-year-old. Very young side. They will lose games, but they've kept that tight against a good Kilsyth team. They won last week against a good Thorn team. I think that JD and Neil down there and Gav, they know the boys inside out. They've got a really good team, probably 4th or 5th for me this season, just based off how young they're. But there's a lot of tight games in that league.
And JD's John Dale's taken that team for years, so he knows everybody that's in there. He's brought them through.
Aye.
He knows them. He's added a couple of guys that he's inherited, obviously. So I'd expect St Peters over the next 2-3 years to make the step up and solidify up the way. But they've got a lot of young boys moving into a different level of football, playing man's football now. So I don't have any concerns about St Peters. And do you know what? Paisley needs a really, really good, strong junior team as well. I
agree. It's Renfrew have been absolutely excellent with St Peters. Once they move away for Renfrew and they have their own park in Paisley, I think you'll start to see a big difference in them. I think the next couple of years are just about solidifying it, keeping the club going. Then once they get their own facilities, I think you will see St Peters kick on. I think they'll actually end up getting good sponsorship for local businesses and giving themselves the option to go on. The Thorn, another good side, beating Eglinton 3-1. I'd say it's a result you expect. Eglinton are just brand new. They've signed a couple of new players this week. They've had it on Twitter and stuff. No team I know anything about, but I don't think that's a terrible result considering the Thorn are a good side. And finally, BSC beating Easterhouse. Again, I don't know anything about Easterhouse really. BSC, I didn't expect much for them. Based off of last season, I thought they weren't I didn't think they were great. A lot of young boys who work really hard and they try and play the right way as well, which is good. But I think they're still a wee bit away. So they'll be really happy with that 3 points. But that brings us to the end of our roundup. It's actually been a good one. I think I've spoke more than I normally do because Dak usually just interrupts me all the time. So I appreciate your professionalism, Des.
First time I've been called professional in my life.
No, look, mate, I really appreciate you coming on. It's really enjoyed this tonight. We also have for everybody, this obviously is Monday now with this being released. On Wednesday, we have Des and Steve Conroy on. For Get Involved Referee, it's one of the best chats I think that we've had. Me and Dak were talking about it, how much we really enjoyed it, and it's a good look behind the curtain at what goes on with the referees and stuff in the SFA, because you two are very open. You didn't hide for anything we asked you, and he's definitely showed a different side to how it is for referees. And I think it was a great insight, and I think it's going to be a good year. I'm looking forward to it coming out on Wednesday.
Well, before anything, Paul, you and I have been, sorry, will I say what you called me?
But for anybody still watching and listening now, as I was doing my introduction, it was Tuesday we recorded, wasn't it? I was doing my introduction and I called Des Clark. I mean, we've known each other for 15, 20 years, become quite pally over the last year or two. And I called him Des Clark, which made me feel like a dick. I don't know how it made you feel, but I felt pretty stupid.
Listen, I'd take a can I swear I'd take a fucking radio salary anyway. But what we said to you prior to coming on was that don't script it. Ask us any question, and whatever question you ask us, we'll give you an honest answer. Both Steve and myself, we're no longer under the SFA umbrella or gag, so to speak. So we'll tell you the truth and with our opinions and it's likewise to anyone. Ask us a question and we'll just tell you the truth and say you've known me long enough, and when you came through refereeing, I supported you, helped you, anything you needed, and it's the exact same going forward. Ask me a question, I'll tell you the truth.
No, you were definitely two. You were first class. The honesty and candidness was excellent, and I think people will really enjoy it. So make sure you tune in on Wednesday morning, 9 o'clock. It'll be it, because that is a very good episode. But I'm going to go and get myself ready and go to work. You just take it easy, get a beer or something, feet up, and watch a bit of telly.
I've got my cup of tea and I need to take the dog a walk.
Right, Des, thank you very much, mate. Cheers for coming on, and thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good week.